As source energy, you sent a physical pioneer into this physical life. That's you. Here you are exploring. And here in this physical life, you're sending pioneers forward into your expansion. And the larger part of you is taking it immediately. So everything that we're going to be talking about here today, and everything that your emotions and everyone else's emotions are guiding you about, is the vibrational relationship between where you stand in your current thought, word, and action in relationship with where who you really are stands in regard to the same subject. And if we can convince you about the reality of this vibrational reality, if we can help you to feel the wholeness of who you are, who stands there, and we can give you some paths, some easy paths to releasing your patterns of thought that hold you in resistance to this, your vortex will take you in, and you will begin to receive manifestational avalanches of everything that you've been asking for. Because there is only one thing that is keeping you from the money you want and deserve and have already created, that is in your now reality, real time, present tense. From the relationships that you've already created that exists in your now reality, in this vortex of creation in present tense. The only thing that's keeping you from the bodily conditions that you seek, that you've already created, that are waiting for you in your now reality, are thoughts and patterns, chronic thoughts and expectations that you've picked up along your physical trail, that every time you think them, they feel awful as you think them, but you have come to endure the negative feeling that comes with thoughts like, well, we all decline with age, or sickness is just a part of our experience, or that's all I can expect at this age of life. There are so many bogus, ridiculous thoughts that you've picked up along your physical trail, not understanding the power to create that you possess, but instead observing people who are mostly resistant, watching them decline because they are resistant, but assigning their declining to their age instead of to their resistance. And then you being resistant as you observe them, so you doing it too. In other words, we sort of kind of get why it's easier to say something unwanted that's happening to me is out of my control. But when you get on the other side of that, when you figure out that nothing is out of your control, that you have the power to focus your mind based upon how the thought feels, how the thought feels, how the thought feels, how the thought feels, until you have practiced yourself chronically into your vortex. We watch you. You try so hard. We've written book after book and given you process after process, and we see you trying. Oh, Abraham, give us another process, and I promise I will do it until I hate it, and you too. I will do this process. I will do it. But we want you to understand, you can't buck your own current. In other words, there are things that you try from outside the vortex that just make it worse. Have you noticed? The harder you try, it's sort of like explaining to someone why you want something to be different than it is, and the harder you try to explain, the more they explain that it can't happen that way. The more they explain their opinion is different. It's like we've been having fun pointing out to you. These are money and the law of attraction. These are two really wonderful decks. One is money, one is health. Those are the two primary things that are bothering you in your environment. Relationships is a close third, but money and health, those are the things that most people are fretting the most about. And those are the things that most people have put more in their vortex about. You should see the veritable empires you've created in your vortex of creation. And you should see the fantastic physicality that's waiting for you. You might have to wait until you've been born again to receive the benefit of it, because you're kind of caught up in the way bodies are in this physical time-space reality. So you don't allow yourself to expect the improvements that you could have today if you wanted them. Today, if you wanted them, you've asked for them. It's all queued up. Your cells will cooperate and give it to you. If you could stop beating the drum of what is and release the vibrational patterns of what is, you could have it today. You could have it today. But nevertheless, we talk about this vortex of creation, and it is a vivid reality that we are well aware of, and often you are standing outside of it. Now you know about it, wanting to get in. So you come to a seminar like this and you say, Abraham seems to know what they're talking about. They're loud anyway. So I think I will buy their money and the law of attraction cards because I need money. I will praise success wherever I see it. Sure I will. If they're praiseworthy, I will. If they're praiseworthy, I will. Most of the people who have money shouldn't have it. Took it away from the rest of us. I am developing the skill to direct my thoughts. Right. I do not need to have money to attract money. Who writes this stuff? It comes not by magic, but by universal law. It's just a different form of magic. I can have money and freedom too. Yeah, right. I can not show up for work, and they'll send my money anyway. Right. So you get the point that we're making. These wonderful cards are not very well received by someone not in the vortex. In fact, if you're not in the vortex and you really want and need money, if you just got that big tax bill or that big whatever it is, and you're reading these cards from your place of concern or worry, these cards are annoying. Because all it does is make you take your stance in defiance and defend. It makes you defend yourself, doesn't it? And you know why? Because you know with every fiber of your being that life is supposed to be working out for you. You know that on many, many levels you are right about who you are, and so you are defensive about what's going on. So we are suggesting that rather than using a tool like this to try to get into the vortex, which often you might have to read through this deck 100 times before you even find anything that you don't argue with if you're outside the vortex. You got the point, didn't you? And aren't you sort of in agreement with it? But if you find yourself, let's say that your grandchild has come over and your heart is singing, or you're hearing music and you find yourself moving to the rhythm of it and just feeling wonderful as you're hearing the music. As you move into the vortex, because of something that you've observed, what we want you to do is acknowledge how good you're feeling in that moment. I'm in the vortex. And then that's when we think it would be a very good idea for you to look through your deck of cards or anything else. What we're saying to you is do 100% of your affirming from inside the vortex. Where what happens with most people, you do most of your affirming outside the vortex. Esther was in a mode of that recently, making statements of things she clearly does not want in a very affirming way, not even noticing that she was affirming and therefore practicing the vibration and therefore holding her outside the vortex longer because she was so sure she was right in what she was saying. And what we want you to understand is, of course you're right. You're always right. You're right. What you think will manifest around you and it will prove you right. If you think there's not enough money and you keep affirming it, it will show up like that in your life experience and you will be right. And then you'll be able to say, see, I told you it was right. I told you, I told you, I told you. On your tombstone, they print your words. I told them I was sick. In other words, what you affirm is. And what we're wanting you to understand, this art of allowing really is about the art of affirming. It's about the art of practicing the thought of something until it becomes so practiced that you don't have to think about it. You just believe it. It is just your knowing. So we want to put it out to you. Do you believe more in wellness or in illness? Well, if you are like most of your nation that is being polled all over the place, who is frantic over health care, you believe unequivocally in illness. You believe that you will have your way out of this earth with tubes up your nose and tubes in your veins, and that you will need this health care. You will need it because there is this long decline that is certain for you. If you're like most people, that's what you believe. But it's not what the source within you knows. It's not what who you really are knows. So when you think that thought, you feel horrible. And then you think you feel horrible because your government or somebody isn't doing something that you think they need to do. You're giving your power over to uncontrollable circumstances, you see.